Very good afternoon, everyone. I totally understand this is just the post-lunch session, and I heard lunch was really good. The desserts were really amazing. So I have a very tough task to talk about the possibilities of AI in retail industry and not put you to sleep, right? So I'll try to do justice to it, not go into too much of technical nuances and details. I'm going to give you a little bit of flavor of what we are thinking about, how AI can transform the retail industry, what are the possibilities that we think could be impactful, right? That's what my direction would be. Should you have any questions where you want to go deeper, please do ask that. I have a slot of about 5 minutes, so just a flavor of what I'm thinking of is what I'm going to put up here. So I think so far the whole retail industry has been in a 1.0 mode, right, which was very, very reactive, based on earlier process orchestrations, the BPMs of the world, where people thought about what are the ways the inefficiencies can be looked at with the help of a technology. That was a perspective on 1.0 transformation, digital transformation, as you may want to call it in different flavors, that has happened over a period of the last decade. Given the rise of Gen AI, however you want to put it, that is going to accelerate the whole process, right? Somewhere I just read recently that the retail industry is obviously growing at 25% plus CAGR, and I think we should be about $2 trillion by 2026 and about 3 to 3.5 by 2030. So the kind of growth that we anticipate can only happen if the digital transformation gets accelerated to a different level altogether, right? Which I would like to call it as a proactive way of looking at the digital transformation. Now that is totally possible with the help of AI. Now there are limitless possibilities if you think about the perspective of retail as an industry, because there are far many moving points here. So the transition has to happen from reactive to proactive. Reactive means you saw inefficiencies right from, let's say supply chain to the vendor management to your processes within internally or externally, right? Now that was very reactive mode of operations. The AI can actually take it to a new transition of taking it to a proactive way. So now they were processes which got improvised, that got digitized. Now the next leap can happen with a predictive intelligence driven by data and the algorithm that everybody wants to call it as an AI. This is something that we believe is going to directly impact the outcome, the business outcome that the retailers are looking at, and the efficiencies, and yet save significant cost because of the speed of operations here. A quick note about what Zvolv does. So basically Zvolv is a hyper automation platform. As we talked about 1.0, right, where we looked at the combination of various elements of BPM, AI, ML, analytics, and possible integrations within existing systems. Zvolv provides all-in-one integrated suite of hyper automation as a service. So this is delivered from plug and play model of various building blocks that sit on top of the integrations which you already have as a part of your tech stack. So the whole process orchestration is what Zvolv's offering is, and we obviously work across different industries with the possible use cases solving for all possible business outcomes that the retailers or other industries related can explore. Now, quick flavor of what we are thinking about from the AI perspective, right? So if you look at AI, you can start looking at different dimensions of applicability. It could just be a smart knowledge automation. It could be starting from how do you kind of put all the data points together and take actions based on the decisions that the algorithms can take for you instead of you taking it yourself. The AI can accelerate the whole process based on the data point that you've given, based on the learnings that the algorithm goes through, based on your own sector, based on your own use cases, customer personas, and execution efficiencies. You could look at customer support as one of the most interesting thing it could go deeper into. Imagine a customer support which is again instantaneous rather than being reactive. Now today, in today's world, the customer support typically, there is a query that comes into from a customer about anything and everything, right? And then somebody has to look at the data points, somebody has to interpret what the query is, go back, understand, and respond to it, right? This is a very, very manual process. Now the whole thing can be automated, not only from the task perspective, but also from the workflows perspective, and take a suitable action which can directly fulfill the customer's customer's inquiry on a real-time basis. Now, this is the possibility that we've already seen globally being made waves, and when people thought about customer support can possibly become extinct with the use of AI, right? That's another one that we have looked at very, very closely, and we are developing this whole model in an accelerated space. Risk monitoring, I think one of the biggest challenges for retailers is looking at how do you anticipate the risk before it happens, right? Can it be a financial fraud? Can it be a risk in terms of the overall execution? Can it be a risk in terms of inventory? Can the algorithm or the AI predict the risk which is coming in and flag you ahead of its time? That's the direction we're talking about, right? If you can predict it well in advance, you would be able to take a corrective action and then not get into any kind of crisis situation which needs handling, right? So this directly impacts the efficiency that you would be able to think about. You could think about dynamic pricing, right? Imagine you are a retailer, you have various stores which are either owned by you or your own partners. Now, you could think about dynamic pricing digitally or offline, both ways, right? That is something that can be driven by the algorithm and the data points, which could be an amalgamation, combination of various factors, and deliver you the right results for not only just the price, but also from the SKU's point of view. Geolocation intelligence, again, this is something that could take you to a different dimension of thinking based on which cities, which regions within the cities, what type of SKUs, what type of customer personas, profiles, purchasing power, possibilities of returning orders. So there are these combinations that you would be able to think about, and the algorithms and the whole AI model can help you understand and play around with this to deliver better results for you. Smart inventory real-time management. I think one of the interesting problems that I kept hearing from retailers and the partners was, the stagnant inventory that was there, or not the right inventory being made available. Can this be predictively, analyzed, and then you take the corrective actions based on that, so that your costs at the source and cost at the deployment both are under your control, right? So directly impacting your efficiency and success of your operations. Merchandise intelligence, again, double clicking on the same thing. So I think all these things would start delivering right from the source to the customer touch points, and that directly impacts your business metrics, right? It could impact your profitability, it could impact your bottom line. So there are different dimensions of looking at this. So the AI would be able to kind of analyze a lot more data, which is privately hosted by you. The algorithm runs on top of it, and all these things will be orchestrated by Zvolv. So there are, I think, a couple of examples that I can just go through and hold on my conversations. If there are any questions, I would be able to take it forward. So we looked at one use case, right? Smart knowledge automation. Imagine having access to your data points, which is 50% faster, more efficient, based on the data it has predicted and analyzed, and then the response is taken towards your customer or your vendors or your partners based on the data which is already available. Today, all that happens is people go back with a query internally or externally, understand, and then there is a pattern that is understood, the issues are understood, queries are understood, and then they respond. This could be customer service, or it could be handling conversations with your partners, vendors, whoever else it may be. It could be internal, external stakeholders, right? So the efficiency kind of can be improved by leaps and bounds. I think 50% is a very conservative estimate. That's something that we can scale up much, much higher. The whole manual intervention in core processes, right? If imagine a workflow, any kind of workflow, right? Eventually it needs whatever digitization that you do. Eventually there are workflows which need manual intervention. Now those could be automated based on the context of the workflow itself, and that is what the AI can do in various other possible applicable scenarios that you can think of across the spectrum. So risk monitoring is something that I talked a little bit. The risk monitoring becomes extremely important from the business execution point of view. It could just be not about the financial risk. It could be risk across the processes. It could be risks across your operations of the floor, digital, whatever it may be. The algorithm would basically be able to predict it well in advance, and that's the advantage and beauty of it. This is what Zvolv orchestrations on AI, as we call it as ZAI popularly. This is what we would build on. The true future of AI is going to be redefining the whole efficiency, directly impacting your business outcomes. And that's where we are at. I'm going to leave you here. I think that running out of time, but happy to take a question if there is. Otherwise, we'll move on.
Sir.
Thank you, everyone. I hope everybody is awake and I didn't put anybody to sleep. Thank you. Bye-bye.